Hello and welcome to the webinar. You're not living your life, you're living your conditioning. My name is Rhiannon and I'm one of the co-founders of the Ascendancy Collective, here to guide you on this journey, whether it's tonight or this morning, wherever you are from and whatever time you're watching this. We are going to go through a bunch of information. So a little bit of housekeeping is to have a notepad and pen. Make sure you have a glass of water. There won't be any breaks during this webinar. We're just going to dive right into the content. So be present. Put this time aside. You've registered. You're here. Be proud of yourself and really just show up for yourself and absorb all the information that I'm going to share with you. We're going to dive deep into some concepts. So be curious about what you're going to hear and really just allow yourself to be vulnerable and playful as well, because it's all about having fun at the end of the day, right? So there'll be a bunch of information, as I said. Have those notepads and pens ready, and let's get started. So, first of all, I'm just going to ask you a quick question. Do you give yourself permission to have fun, be vulnerable, open, and curious? Great. So you might be wondering, who am I? So my name is Rhiannon Watson. I have spent over 8 years working in the film and TV industry. This gave me a great understanding of people, emotions, and behavior and why we do what we do. I've also had 10 years experience working alongside children, which gave me a deep insight into the early conditioning that we do form. I have been an international event MC, guiding live audiences through breakthrough experiences worldwide. I've studied mindset and identity work with the Proctor Gallagher Institute, and I'm a breakthrough facilitator. So I help people shift patterns in real time. Now, why did I create this webinar? The reason I created this is because I've spent years working with both children and adults, and I kept noticing the same pattern. I saw how often adults, without realizing, project their own emotions and triggers onto children, and how those moments shape what a child believes about themselves, what's safe, and who they have to be. And then I'd look at adults and I'd see those same patterns still playing out. People knowing what they want, but behaving in a completely different way and not understanding why. And to be honest, I did that myself for a majority of my life. And what really came clear to me is that we're not broken, we're patterned. And so I created this to help people understand that connection and to start seeing what's really running behind their life. So now it's your turn. Just have a think for yourself why you're here, why you signed up to this. Maybe you saw an ad, maybe you saw a social post, maybe you got really curious. Maybe this is something you've been wondering for a long time. Whatever the reason that you are here during this time, it's perfect. Now, just ask yourself if you know what the imprint period is. A lot of the time when I ask this question, some people are like, yeah. And then others are like, I've heard of it. And then some people are like, I don't have a clue. And so the imprint period is really all where it starts. This is between the ages of 0 and 7. There is no filter, you're a blank canvas, and everything around your environment is absorbed. You're collecting data in this time, right? And it's imprinting information onto you. So as you're taking in all of this information from observing your surroundings and the people within them, you're experiencing life. Your childhood experience makes your beliefs that are formed, and this creates your adult patterns. I'll say that one more time. Your childhood experience creates your beliefs that are formed, and these create your adult patterns. And so here are some beliefs that this baby is formed early in its years. And now this is not what the baby's thinking logically. This is what the baby is making things mean about themselves due to the experiences around them. So the first one is, no one understands me. So the childhood experience could be their big feelings are dismissed. You know, people might say you're overreacting, not being listened to or heard. Their emotions are not validated. And so the belief formed is, no one gets me. I'm alone in this. The adult pattern that would play out from that is they would keep things to themselves, struggle to open up, feel disconnected even in relationships, and feel like no one really knows them. They might have a belief that then leads to, I need to keep the peace, maybe to feel understood, right? And so for I need to keep the peace, the childhood experience would be tension, arguments, emotions, unpredictable. They might get praised for being the easy one or the good one and feel responsible for others' emotions. So the belief formed is it's safer if I don't rock the boat. Now, what do you think the adult pattern might be that plays out from that? People pleasing, avoiding conflict, saying yes when you mean no, prioritizing others over yourself. Now, does anyone relate to that? I myself am a recovering people pleaser. So I related to this one so much when I was researching these beliefs. All right, let's have a look at another one. We've got this is who I have to be. Now, the childhood experience around this could be you're praised for being the easy one or the good one, and you feel loved when you act that way, right? And so then you believe, well, this is who I have to be. So you stay in that role as an adult, even when it doesn't feel like you, because this is who you have to be to receive love and feel safe, right? And so another strong one is love can be taken away. Now, the childhood experience around love can be taken away is affection or attention is withdrawn when you do something wrong. Now, I do quotations for wrong because it's all open to people's unique perception of what is wrong, right? And everybody has different beliefs and values and patterns and behaviors and experiences that created those to believe something's right or wrong. Now, when someone's projecting what they think is wrong onto you and then they withdraw attention, you're only going to believe that love can be taken away. And so you might overgive in relationships as an adult due to this because you fear losing people. And the last one is, it's my fault. So as a child, you might be blamed or made responsible for situations. Adults project their emotions onto you and you feel responsible for other people's moods. So you might think, oh, I'm the problem. And the adult pattern that would play out in this is you take responsibility for everything, you over apologize, you feel guilty, you make guilt-driven decisions, right? Now, I used to make heaps of guilt-driven decisions. So this also makes you struggle with your self-worth as well. Okay, so when you take responsibility for everything, your kind of whole nervous system is running a bunch of different emotions that drive what you do, even if it's not what you want to do. And so this baby didn't sit down and think, well, I'm going to choose all of these beliefs for myself. They learned them in moments where they were trying to feel safe, loved, and understood. And then they grew up spending their lives as if these were true. Okay? So just have a think if any of these resonated for you. Now, there's a hidden problem that not a lot of people talk about. And the hidden problem is that you created these beliefs and then built behaviors to match them, right? Now, I just want to ask if you've ever had the word praxis brought to your attention before. Just have a think, praxis, praxis. It's a word I'd never heard of until I was about 20. And then it came past my vocabulary and I have been studying it ever since. I'm obsessed with the word praxis and this is part of the hidden problem. So praxis is the integration of belief with behavior. So would you agree that when you combine both your beliefs and your behavior, this creates your results? Yeah. So what if I was to tell you that there's a gap between what we believe and how we behave, and that this very gap is the missing piece? Okay, so here we have belief without action is stuck, and action without belief is sabotage. So belief without action, this is when someone knows their pattern, they understand their inner child, they know where things came from, they believe things could be different, but they don't change how they show up. So nothing in their life changes and they stay stuck. They might say things like, I know I need to speak up more. I know I deserve better. I know this isn't really who I am. But then they stay quiet, they people please, they avoid. That is belief without action. So you stay stuck. All this insight feels like progress because you're absorbing all this information, but it doesn't create the actual change. You're not taking the actions once you know and understand the beliefs, right? Now, action without belief is sabotage. This is when someone does take action, but underneath they don't actually believe that they're worthy, they're capable, that it's safe. And so what happens? They undo it. For example, they set a boundary and then they over-explain and backtrack. They start something new and then procrastinate it or quit. or they go for an opportunity and then doubt themselves into inaction because their internal belief doesn't match their behavior. And so now sometimes you can act differently for a moment, but ultimately you'll fall back into what you believe is true. Your life only changes when you believe and how you behave match, right? So what you believe, how you behave, when they match, that is the gold of change. So just remember, your inner child created the belief, your conditions keep running it. And so you didn't sit down and choose these thoughts. You learned them in moments where you were trying to feel safe, loved, and understood, just like that baby. And then you spent your life living as if they were true. So praxis aligns belief and behavior. It's the integration of belief and behavior. Most people understand their patterns or try to act differently. Very few actually do both at the same time. So you can remember it like this. Thinking differently isn't enough. Acting differently isn't enough. You need both at the same time. Because most people say, I want confidence, I want freedom, I want change. You already know what you want, but your behavior still says, stay safe. And that's the issue. So let's have a look at the gap that I like to call the knowing doing gap. So most people live on this left side. They know what they want, right? They understand themselves. They know what they need to do. They even want to change, but their behavior still is aligned with the old belief. So nothing actually changes. Now, this is the gap. This is where most people stay. And over here, praxis is what closes it. It's where you start acting differently before it feels natural. Scary, I know. But we have a formula and there's a way. So this is a little me. Now, I actually had a few patterns playing out, but I thought I'd highlight these two, right? One was around people pleasing. So it was all that I need to keep the peace, right? I didn't want to disappoint anyone. I was terrified to disappoint anyone or have people not like me. I really didn't want people to not like me. And I didn't deal with it very well either. So during my upbringing, certain people had different expectations of me. And I felt like when I didn't act certain ways around those certain people, that they didn't like me. And this led me to have an extreme lack of boundaries or knowing who I truly was without those expectations around me. So I knew I needed better boundaries, but instead I was saying yes when I meant no, overgiving, avoiding conflict. And my belief was I need to keep the peace. I don't want to disappoint people. Now, my second core belief was I need to be sure. So this created a lot of overthinking versus action. Now, my knowing was I know I needed what I need to do next, right? I could plan everything. I could overanalyze it. I could plan it. I could make the longest to-do list in history. But that's all it ever was. It was a to-do list, right? I needed to be sure. So I'd always wait for the right time and I'd stay in planning mode because my belief was I can't get it wrong. I need to be sure. And this was my way of staying safe, right? So as I said before, most people say, I want confidence, I want freedom, I want change. And, they know what they want to do. But the behavior still says, stay safe. And that's our issue. So I didn't lack awareness. I lacked integration. I knew what I wanted to do, but I wasn't doing it because my behavior was still aligned with my old beliefs. Now, I love this quote. It's by one of my favorite authors and speakers, Napoleon Hill. And it says, no more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. Now, just think about what that means to you as you read that. No more effort is required to aim high in life, to demand abundance and prosperity than is required to accept misery and poverty. And isn't that just so true? In each moment, the next thought that we choose is our choice, right? If we're conscious about it. And we can use all of that effort and thought energy to think about all the things that could go wrong, or we could think about all the things that could go right. So this is going to lead us into our next experience. It's just going to be a short guided experience. So this is where I'm going to encourage you to sit back in your chair or in your bed or wherever you are on the ground, doesn't matter. And wherever you are, we're just going to go through a quick guided experience and have a little discussion with little you. So just start to get comfortable. Start taking deep breaths in and out. Nice and slow in through your nose. And out through your mouth. That's it. And one more time, in through your nose. And out through your mouth. Just let your shoulders drop. Oh, your body soften. Your jaw unclench. Closing down your eyes now. There's nothing you need to do. Just be here. And bring your awareness inward. And just notice how you're feeling in this moment. No need to change anything. Just observe. Now I want you to bring to your mind an area of your life right now. An area where you don't fully feel like yourself. Maybe where you hold back, overthink, or feel a little stuck in a pattern. Just choose one. And notice what that feels like in your body. Now gently ask yourself, when have I felt this before? Let your mind go back. Earlier, younger, right back to when you were a child. Now notice where they are, what the environment feels like. Now gently ask, what did you learn about who you had to be in this environment? What felt safe for you? What didn't feel safe? And now, what did you make that mean about you? Let the answer come. I am, I have to, I can't. That's the belief that was formed. Now, stay with that younger version of you and gently bring your awareness to your life now. And notice, where is this belief still playing out? Where are you still being that version of yourself? What do you do because of this belief? What do you avoid, hold back from, or tolerate because of it? Just notice. And recognize this. That pattern didn't start now. It started here. And it's been carried forward through your thoughts, your reactions, your behavior. Not because you chose it, but because you learned it. Now gently bring your attention back to that younger version of you and just acknowledge them. They were doing the best they could, trying to feel safe, trying to feel loved. You might feel like saying something to them, like, I see you, and I see what you learned. Just have that moment with them now. And take a slow breath in and a soft breath out. And gently just start coming back to your body. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. And when you're ready, open your eyes, take out your pen and paper, and write down what belief was formed and where is it still playing out in my life today. Again, what belief was formed and where is it still playing out in my life today? What belief was formed and where is it still playing out in my life today? And when you're done writing it down, just sit in observation. You can see the pattern and still feel it running. Remember that there's no judgment here, just awareness and curiosity. You might just want to close your eyes and take some deep breaths. Okay, so we're at the point of awareness now. You should all have a pattern you're now aware of that is still playing out. And this is the most common place where people get to and then stay stuck. So I think now it's time that we look at how to shift it. Okay, so we've answered what the belief was formed and where is it still playing out in your life today. Now, this is Praxis Explained. Most people get really good at these first two, okay? So they have awareness and ownership. They understand themselves. They can even explain their patterns, but they never move to this because this is the uncomfortable part. This is where you act differently before it feels natural. This is where praxis actually begins. And so your life changes when your behavior changes, not just your awareness, right? So now looking at the previous method, and this is how I overcame my childhood beliefs. I knew I needed better boundaries, but instead I was saying yes when I meant no, overgiving, avoiding conflict. The core belief was I need to keep the peace. I don't want to disappoint people. So praxis for me was closing the gap. And this looked like saying no, even when my body felt uncomfortable doing it. This took a lot of practice and a lot of regulating my nervous system. And still to this day, it's not easy for me to say no to someone and choose me over them. However, now I don't just have the awareness, I have the tools, right? And it's those very tools that are so important when it comes to shifting and integrating praxis into our lives. My second core belief was that I needed to be sure. This created a lot of overthinking versus action. And my belief was I know what I need to do next. But instead I overanalyzed, I waited for the right time. I stayed in planning mode because my belief was I can't get it wrong. I need to be sure. And so closing the gap looked like taking action before I felt ready. Because remember, most people say, I want confidence, I want freedom, I want change. You already know what you want, but your behavior still says stay safe. So I didn't lack awareness, I lacked integration. And closing that gap didn't look like learning more. I wanted a new behavior. The want of a new behavior and the pattern of a childhood belief, right? That's where I was at. And so closing that gap, it looked like showing up differently before it felt natural. It looked like taking action and knowing I could handle it moment by moment. Stopping myself from predicting worst case scenarios beforehand and believing that I could handle anything as it came. The more action I took, the braver I became and the easier it felt. I started creating evidence against my old belief that confirmed that it wasn't real for me anymore. Now, to me, this quote means that each day is a new opportunity, right? It's an opportunity to change what we once knew and choose better and explore what else is possible for us. So Charlie Brown says, we only live once. And Snoopy says, wrong. We only die once. We live every day. Now, if we embody this and we decide to get uncomfortable and back ourselves and prove that our old beliefs aren't real or aren't true anymore, then that means as early as right now, we can let the door of opportunity be in front of us, hand on the handle, and open it up. Once you know you can choose differently and then get uncomfortable doing so, that's really the next step. And so many people say it's really that simple, but going through everything that I have, I can really back that now. We let so much cloudy judgment get in the way. It's hard to see what's next, right? But the next step is just choosing a different action and catching it right before we go to choose the similar one, the safe one. Now, with all the tools that I've learnt, yes, it's getting uncomfortable. Yes, it's saying no to familiar things and yes to new things. But there's also a beautiful opportunity that we have as a next step in the Ascendancy Collective. And it's something that not just myself, but Karina and Sarah Jane, the other two co-founders, have decided to create as an opportunity for anyone who feels like this is the right next step for them. And it's the Ascend Summit. Now, what this is a beautiful event that we have cultivated, full of information. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about Sarah Jane and Karina so that you can get a bit of a feel for the other co-founders and what they're about. So for me personally, Sarah Jane is the mentor who showed me how much action I can take in a short period of time. And I went to one of her 3-day events in person in the Sunshine Coast. It was like a retreat style, right? And it absolutely blew me away. I have worked closely with her firsthand and experienced the benefits of her driven work to contribute to who I am today. One of my favorite things that Sarah Jane has made me realize is how simple making a big decision in life can be. I would word vomit so many of my concerns to her and just give her all the reasons why I shouldn't do something. And she would break it down, lay it all out for me, and in a few words, just remind me of the power that I have. And really, I knew the answers the whole time. And even as she's listening and absorbing and being in the presence of her energy, you kind of remember the things you already know. It's absolutely amazing. And so Sarah Jane is a certified personal transformation coach, mindset coach, and life strategist. She is radically action oriented, turning insight into momentum. She's trained and worked alongside world-class mentors in the personal development space and specializes in the areas of pattern identification and interruption. She is a personal development program facilitator, creating immersive experiences where people move from stuck to unstoppable. She's a keynote speaker and expert on nervous system regulation and stress management. She's an MBA and 10 years plus in corporate leadership. She knows about performance under pressure and how to get optimal results alongside her leadership coach and corporate wellbeing program facilitation offerings. She's amazing. The next co-founder is Karina. Now, Karina is one of the people that you instantly click with, and I instantly clicked with her. Her energy radiates and her presence is felt deeply. The things she has moved through and overcome in this life are beyond inspiring. And to be able to hear her story is unlike anything I had ever heard before. She's a walking example of resilience. And if you've ever heard her story, you would know exactly why. So she's the founder of the Sophie Effect, co-founder of the Ascendancy Collective. She created a successful children's program following the loss of her daughter, Sophie. She's lived experience in grief and trauma. She's a specialist in grief, resilience, identity, rebuilding, and self-leadership. She's a keynote speaker sharing her journey, learning, and transformation processes. She was featured in Women's Day Australia. She's known for an authentic, compassionate, and results-driven approach and empowers individuals to rebuild with strength, clarity, and purpose. So when the three of us came together and decided we were going to build this, it just felt like a no-brainer. We're all very deeply passionate. We've all been through it. We've done the programs, we've lived through the experiences, and we know what works and we know what people want. And so the Ascend Summit now, the event agenda, we do want to keep a lot of it top secret. Because if you've been to events before, isn't it so much nicer when you turn up and you have no idea what you're in for? I mean, for me, it is personally, but some people go, no, absolutely not. I want to know everything. It's like those people that will watch all the movie trailers and spoilers before they go to the cinema. And then there's some that are like, don't show me anything. I want to sit there and be absolutely surprised the whole time. For us, there's some things when you show up, we want you to be in the moment. And we want you to be prepared for those moments, right? Which come with sitting in the chair, hearing some of the content, which allows your body to relax and be prepared for the experience or the breakthrough or whatever it is that we present to you moment by moment. But we do understand that people aren't going to say yes to an opportunity until they know something about it. So we have put this together for you. Now, what's included is 2 full days of live expert facilitation across all 3 facilitators. So that's myself, Karina, and Sarah Jane. So we're all going to be there assisting you on this journey of transformation. We've been there, we've done the events, we know what you want. So just let us guide you on these 2 full days of carefully curated content, exercises, surprises, and integration. So you'll get all your materials, workbooks, and resources included. You'll get a high energy, deeply personal, and fully supported experience. 30-day post-event integration guide. Now, integration is something people don't talk about enough. Now, integration is, you go to something, you absorb all the information, and then you get excited about it, but then you go back to your normal life, right? It's very different than being in the room with all the other attendees. You're hyped up. You're like, yeah, this is my tribe now. I found my people. And then, some people come from other areas. They might be from other countries. And you're like, how do I keep this going with my immediate family and friends, right? They weren't there. And so, well, not only do we encourage you to bring them, but you can't bring all of them. You can't bring your boss and all your work colleagues and your family and your children and all of that, right? If you did, that'd be great. But it's a lot of the time not something that happens right at once. And so you go back to your normal life and sometimes it's hard to get such good energy and transformation and awareness, and then to know what to do when everyday life creeps back in, right? We don't want you falling off the bandwagon. And so this 30-day post-integration guide is absolute gold, right? It's priceless in the sense that to be able to have that to back you and back what you're doing and keep that momentum going, I highly recommend. And so we also give you access to the Ascendancy Collective community, right? This is our beautiful community where we share stuff, information, valuable resources, and just, yeah, it's a wonderful vibe in the community. And then we have a group integration call. So not only do you get the post-event integration guide, which keeps the journey going, but the call allows us all to come back together, say hello, check in on what's been happening, and then give you some tips on where you might be at after that. It's roughly about a week after the event because that's where normal life starts to set in. And so it's really important to kind of grab that back and go, no, no, we're staying consistent with the decisions we've made during this time together. And so you'll walk away with a clear understanding of exactly what's been keeping you stuck and how to remove it, right? We're not just about awareness, we want the tools. You'll get practical tools to shift your emotion state and energy on demand, freedom from the specific fears and limiting beliefs that have been running your life, reconnection to who you actually are and what you genuinely want, an honest picture of where your life currently stands and what needs to change, a defined identity and clear direction, not just a vague idea, a real one, a completely different relationship with fear, grief, and anger and resistance. Not just saying it's not okay to feel these things, actually allowing them there and figuring out what to do with them when they do arise, right? Because that's normal. That's what happens. We're human. We feel the full scale of emotions. You'll also leave lighter, clearer, and with a plan, not just a feeling. Sure, it is great to go to an event and walk away feeling really good, but then what? So we're going to give you that plan, right? So that's the event. We are so excited to launch this. It's something that is near and dear to our hearts. If it feels right for you, if you want to come, please do join us. We have a wonderful event special for this event. Now, if you just scan the QR code on the screen and use the code ASCEND, you will get 10% off, and we will keep it valid for the next 24 hours once this webinar has been watched. And yeah, we're doing a virtual first to launch. So it's on the 1st and 2nd of August. This will be live on Zoom for those 2 days. And basically, when you scan the code, there are 2 payment options. So you can pay in full or there's a split payment. And you'll also see available dates. So we are also taking expressions of interest for Sydney as well to be live in person, which is so exciting. Now, if you do want to discuss this with family and friends, keep the tab open from the QR code and just think of who else you might want to bring with you or who could benefit from this. Now, I just want to end on this. We have gone through a lot of content during this webinar. We've talked about the imprint period. We've talked about praxis. We've talked about integration. We've gone through and identified some old key patterns that are still playing out. So it would be an absolute honor if this is feeling right for you to see you in that Zoom room live on the 1st of August. Honestly, from my heart to yours, thank you for showing up. Thank you for allowing me to guide you on this short journey. And please do follow along for the journey of the Ascendancy Collective. Please be a part of the community. And I really look forward to seeing you. And if not, all the best on your journey. It has been an absolute honor sharing this information. And hopefully we'll see you at the summit.